rainy day in Detroit. Talk about Ausar Thompson. I had to come back to the crib. I left something, but we're here. So Ausar Thompson was named Defensive Player of the Month 2 times in a row. Could he be Defensive Player of the Year? The thing about it is they like to quantify that with stats. You know, and that's the one thing I really don't care for the NBA. Everything is stat driven. I mean, when you had those conversations about MVP, if you don't average 27, 28, 29 points a game, oh, how are you valuable? It's just the NBA is just going down the wrong path. All right. It really went into this deep analytics. And you know what's so funny? We get into this conversation about, you know, Wade and Patrick Beverley starting, but who better, Wade and Harden? You know what people who make a case for Harden forgetting what most people in this generation forget? Winning. They forget winning. It's no more important stat than winning. You know what I'm saying? Like winning, you're a winner. What did you do in winning time? What did you do in the crunch? You know, those are the things that we have to ask ourselves. What did you do in the winning time? If you're both a great player and then somebody, you know, also had great playoff stats where they was great in the crunch and one was not so great in the crunch, we don't talk about winning. But I just don't really like where Defensive Player of the Year, I don't think it should be, or all defensive teams shouldn't come down to stats. You know, sometimes the eye test, when you see people locking people up, you know, locking people up on a night-to-night basis. And, you know, I feel like guys like Avery Bradley at some point should have probably been the Defensive Player of the Year. He was locking people up. You know, you see guys like Tony Allen, and, you know, but it's usually really a big man's award. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because of block shots. They want to quantify with the stats, but just because you got block shots, look at Rudy Gobert. Just because he blocked shots and he did certain, he was nowhere near the best defensive player in the league. You know, and Victor Wembanyama, I have no issue with him winning an award because not only does statistics support what he's done, but what also supports what he's done is the eye test. But when you kind of talk about guys like Ruben Patterson, Tony Allen, Avery Bradley, Ausar Thompson, Amen Thompson, bro, they locking shit up. I mean, shit, Jaylen Brown, the stats may not, you know, bag up Jaylen Brown being a hellified, defensive player, but he locking shit up. You know, they just say, oh, if you get this many steals, nah, man, what am I doing when I'm putting the clamps on dudes? You want to talk about stats? This was opponent shot when I was guarding them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one thing I really don't like about the NBA. Everything is just constant. It's constant statistic. You know, if you didn't score this many points a game, you shouldn't be MVP. What that got to do with being most valuable? If I'm making people better and they getting off and they getting contracts like Jason Kidd, I always say this, I feel like a couple years in Jersey, he should have been MVP. Steve Nash, what he did, he got motherfuckers paid. Tim Thomas got paid. You feel me? Joe Johnson got paid. You know, Sean Marion got paid. Amari Stoudemire got paid because of Steve Nash. What more higher honor is it? And I'm getting guys paid. They having their best year playing with me, and we winning as a collective. It's nothing better than that. That got nothing to do with scoring 30, 40 points a game. Being the best defensive player shouldn't have nothing solely to do with your blocks and steals. If when people see you and they have a bad game, and they always really have great games or good games, but when they come see you and they have a bad game, that speaks a lot about you as a defensive player. The NBA really need a lot of reform, bro. It needs a lot of reform, from the referees being the stars of the shows to how they quantify their MVPs and defensive player of the years and stuff of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Just because you got a bunch of steals and blocks don't make you a great defensive player. You know? I mean, that's just my stance on it. You know, and you know, what's so funny is, you know, we be talking, you know, people be trying to argue Michael Jordan and LeBron and stuff of that nature. What really be funny is how people historically don't know. Michael Jordan had the second greatest year of all time. And the only reason he had the second greatest year is because the first greatest year was Hakeem Olajuwon. Michael was the MVP, scoring champ, defensive player of the year, slam dunk champion, all-star game MVP, all NBA first team, all NBA defensive team. He did all that in 1 year. The only reason Hakeem Olajuwon year was better because he was the MVP of the league, the Finals MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year. He won, he won All NBA, first team defensively, but he was the Finals MVP. And guess what? No disrespect to Kenny the Jet and Robert Horry and them. That first year he did that when they won the championship. He ain't had no other All-Star player next to him. Like, he ain't had nobody else next to him. Like, no disrespect. Hakeem was the 1 and the 2 and the 3. Hakeem was him. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hakeem had the greatest finals run. Two in a year, he got Clyde the second year. Hakeem had the greatest finals run, bro. Bar none in NBA history. Nobody had a better finals run than Hakeem, especially that first year. So, like I said, they only want you to believe that it was ever like Magic, Bird, Jordan, and like the three-peat Lakers, Shaq and Kobe, and then LeBron. Like, shit, man. The greatest years, once you go look at some of these dudes' greatest years, man, like some of the statistical things that they did, if you want to talk about stats, greatest year was Hakeem and Michael. Greatest finals run was Hakeem. I guess if you look at somebody taking the torch, if you're really looking at somebody like really taking the torch, I think people for the first time seeing somebody take the torch of Michael. It's kind of like when Michael Jackson took the torch at the 25-year anniversary of Motown when he performed Billie Jean, and that's when he really was crowned as a true like legendary icon. He was already a stud, but a true. That's like Michael Jordan was the first person that you seen take the torch in the NBA. That was the first person you see take the torch. Like Magic and Bird kind of created the torch. Because the NBA was on tape delay before them. Like the NBA was you gotta understand tennis at the time, baseball. You know what I'm saying? At some point, how we feel about NFL, this is how they felt about baseball. And the best experience of baseball was the radio. You had to think, somebody back in the day was like, football will never be as big as baseball. Basketball will never be as big as tennis. Think about that for a minute. You will have somebody that's like, you'll be surprised how the times change. I know we went into a history lesson, but to be honest with you, you'll be surprised how the times have changed. You'll be like, it can never come up with nothing better than the PlayStation. I remember saying that as a kid. It can never be anything better than the PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never nothing better than this Nintendo 64. That's what we grew up saying. Like, oh my God, it's nothing better than the first Macintosh. Man, they came out with the apples with the color on the back of them. It's nothing better than remember they used to be like green and pink monitor. There's nothing better than that. And you'll be surprised, bro, how the world changes and how technology changes. Like, what else can they think of? So yeah, we live in a wild time, man. But really, when we start talking about NBA history, man, man, history in general. Watch documentaries, read books. My brothers and my sisters, man, you will learn so much. You will learn so much just by reading and watching documentaries about, even if your only interest is sports, you will learn so much, bro. I'm telling you, man. What they only tell you what they want you to know. And you got to go look about how great some of these people were. I mean, I was talking about how the slaves created blue jeans. I remember the guy that created a buffalo wing, his family's trying to fight to get credit. He was a brother for creating the buffalo. You'd be surprised, man, how you find out all the things that people in the past have created and things, and they tell you, oh, this was the greatest year, and this is the greatest year in sports, and this was the greatest tennis player. You go watch some of these other dudes, man. Athletes wasn't born in this era. I'm gonna be honest with you, this ain't even some of the best athletes. And I say this, and you can look this up here. Will Chamberlain was the greatest athlete to ever walk in sports. Look up his statistics. I mean, he outlifted Arnold Schwarzenegger. Go look that up. They had a story about him and Jerry Rice. They said him and Jerry, only person on the field that looked better catching the football on the field than Jerry Rice was Wilt Chamberlain. Like Wilt was an elite athlete. So for people to disrespect Wilt's record because they didn't see it, I mean, you didn't see slavery, but you knew it fucking went on. You know what I'm saying? Like, for people to say, oh, just because I couldn't see it, and they have this belief that, you know, it wasn't no good athlete. Bullshit. The only person to block Kareem Skyhook, and you can go look this up, was Wilt Chamberlain. You know, when you start looking up Bo Jackson as an elite athlete, Bo Jackson was an elite athlete. Elite. Nobody more athletic than Bo. I mean, Randy Moss, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, Darrell Green. We can just start going in. So a lot of people believe that they just put athletes in. They just put athletes in today. But you know, it is what it is, man. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, check out Detroit Piston Talk playlist for more videos like this. Peace.